Hey, what's up? This is Ian, and I'm going to do a video review of the ViewHD VHD-H2YVs. This ViewHD device is a 2 HDMI input switch, and it converts to either component video or VGA output. So on this side of the device, you have not one, but 2 HDMI inputs, and you could switch between those. You also have a switch for VGA or component, and you also have a switch for 2-channel audio or 5.1 audio. And this is the power supply. So the thing about the power supply, and I'll always gripe about this for as long as they exist, is that this is a wall plug. I hate using these because when I use them, when I plug them into a surge protector, they'll cover up outlets. On the other side of the device, you have VGA output via this 15-pin sub to use on a computer monitor. You have 3 RCA outputs, a YPBPR for component video. You have analog audio output via this headphone port, which you can either plug speakers into, or you could use a headphone jack to 2 RCA cables. In addition, you also have this SPDIF out, which I use for digital audio via optical cables.
Just why would anyone want this thing anyways? Make almost any HDTV or computer monitor usable again. This ViewHD device converts an HDMI signal to either component video or VGA. In addition, it converts the audio to analog stereo via TRS headphone and digital up to 5.1 via SPDIF Toslink. This is or was a considerably cheaper version of the HDTV version 2, which has the same function. And it's definitely cheaper than just buying a new HDTV altogether. Gripes besides the power wall wart plug adapter. Even though there are connections for both component YPBPR and D-sub VGA, you can only switch between one of them at a time and display only one format. This is not a video scaler, so if the HDMI is currently carrying a 1080p signal, it will still be 1080p video coming through. Make sure your TV or monitor is compatible with whatever resolution the HDMI source is outputting. Special features to note. The main selling point of the ViewHD was its automatic image centering. Other devices like it on the market, especially the HDTV, allegedly had its video output shifted to the left with a large black bar on the right side of the screen. This was a nuisance and apparently couldn't be fixed on the display or the device. As mentioned previously, you could hook 2 HDMI inputs and switch between them. I never really wanted or been in a situation where I needed to use a second HDMI input. There is also a switch to change between 2-channel stereo or 5.1 surround sound. However, that also depends on the HDMI source if it enables changing the audio. And allegedly, turning this on only makes the SPDIF out work and disables analog. My use over the years.
Hey, what's up? This is Ian again. Just wanted to show you how I hooked up my ViewHD device to a HPOG HDPVR. So, on the back, I would have these component cables hooked up to the input, and I would either have the option of using stereo analog, which is this thing, and have the other end be 2 RCA cables for stereo. I don't have that hooked up. I also have the option, and this is what I usually do, is taking the SPDIF out right there and hooking it up to that input. I could do that because I can and I prefer it that way. Regardless, I still record stereo audio instead of 5.1 because that is what YouTube allows. So on the front here, I only use one input there, and I could
use either. It wouldn't matter if it's HDMI input 1 or 2. And that is connected to an HDMI splitter. And I don't have either an HDMI source or a second monitor hooked up to that. So yeah, that's how I use this ViewHD device to hook HDMI to component. I originally got this back in 2011, and not for a display, but rather my old Hauppauge HDPVR capture card, since it does not have direct HDMI. And mind you, this was before Hauppauge announced the HDPVR 2. This, along with a separate HDMI splitter, allowed me to use HDMI from game consoles such as the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 with the HDPVR 1. Gaming monitors I've used were all HDMI and had no component. Now that I'm moving on from the first HDPVR, I'm planning to use this for a second-hand television I have upstairs. It's high definition, but the HDMI ports no longer work, so I need this to convert to its still usable component video. So this is the ViewHD device I have hooked up to the high definition television upstairs. I have it hooked up through the stereo audio via a Y cable. This is earphone to 2 RCA and the component cables. This particular HDTV does have VGA, but I cannot use the VGA port from the ViewHD device because you can only use it hooked up to a PC. It only uses PC resolutions, so I use the component cables. And the TV box, the little box with the teal light, is HDMI output only. And even though this HDTV does have HDMI ports, I cannot use them because we got this secondhand and they don't work. So we were forced to use the ViewHD device to convert the HDMI input to the component output. And everything from the ViewHD device is hooked up to the TV, as you can hear on the TV, and it's converting straight from the TV at 720p, the TV box at 720p to the TV at 720p, since the ViewHD does not upscale or downscale or anything, and as seen in this info box. So yeah, if I'm not using the ViewHD for the Hauppauge HDPVR, I'll just use it for this regular TV. I hope you enjoyed this video review. Please follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Yasha, add me on Google+, and subscribe to my channel. Peace out.
Your time is at an end. Here I go! What is that?
Now, shrivel up and die! Despots all preside over a certain form of death. The death I represent is old age. Old age signifies time, the most powerful and absolute form of death that none can withstand. You don't understand. That is what death is. Your puny mind will be incapable of understanding anything that is about to happen.
Know your place.
He's a monster!
Know
An
your
even
place.
bigger monster than Aizen could ever be! Letting it go. Utterly unforgivable. The insolence of defying the Emperor will be rewarded with death. Rise and die. You actually injured me. This will not go unpunished, you ants. Accept your fate. I am Emperor Baragan Ruizenbach, God of Waco Mundo! You shall back
There's nowhere to run.
small.
There's
Too
nowhere to
small.
run.
Much too small. In this world, I am the one and only absolute power. Everything else is insignificant. You rot and die.
Know your place. There's nowhere to run. Completing the mission is most important.